All right. Well, welcome to the first ever episode of Red, White, and Blue. Uh, I'm Danny Day, and this is Jacob Mahood.
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both tax preparers and licensed accident health insurance agents, and we specialize in Medicare. Yeah, first ever. Um, why do we call it Red, White, and Blue?
Because we're American.
We are American.
Proud to be.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
We're gonna try and talk about some of the stuff with tax and insurance that, frankly, every American has to deal with at some point in their life. So
Yeah.
go over some stuff and decisions and how that affects people and the other side of policies
Taxes
and all that
and
stuff.
insurance.
Yeah.
Very American.
Very.
Um, yeah, and then we'll have obviously we'll have guests on. We'll have small business owners. We'll have tradesmen. We'll have people in healthcare in the healthcare trades that can weigh in from different perspectives. And yeah, we are just in the thick of it with everyone else.
Yeah.
But we do have some value to add, some knowledge that we gain through preparing taxes and helping people with their Medicare insurance. And now we're taking it to the streets.
Yeah.
So
We see it a little more than most people do. So hopefully we can
yeah,
help some people out and give some advice and
talk
answer
about
some questions.
yeah, absolutely. Obviously, these are serious topics, but I think it's fitting to kind of just keep our natural dynamic and you know we've done sales seminars, things like that together, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean these could be boring topics for people, so I think it's worthwhile to just kind of keep it
Relaxed and just
yeah
conversation like, and not sit there and look at a camera and just
yeah
spew off a bunch of facts and tell people
yeah
what they've already been told. We just want to give them a
yeah
behind the scenes look at everything and how stuff works. So,
yeah, and it could be anecdotal because obviously we've seen we've seen a lot of things. We've got stories for days on some of these things. So and then I which is funny because like so you know you'll have people that, oh well, if you're funny about something, or even like when we filmed goofy videos as marketing or advertising. I don't think anybody actually thinks that that takes away from professionalism or that you don't know what you're doing,
yeah.
right? So like nobody watches a Liberty Mutual commercial and thinks that an emu works there.
Yeah.
I think that people have a brain and they know that if you are, joking or using something for advertising or marketing, that's one thing. But, when it comes to business and professionalism, that's, those are two separate things.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's funny. But, yeah, we've done our fair share of
Oh, yeah.
marketing and good vids, but yeah,
We're starting this at a crazy time.
true.
A lot of stuff has happened in the past 2 weeks. Attempted assassination on former President Trump.
Yeah.
Biden dropped out. Head of Secret Service resigned.
I didn't know. Oh. Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
a lot of stuff. It is fitting that we do talk about this stuff in regards to the election because, Medicare and insurance and health insurance in general and taxes have a lot to do with who's president and the policies they have.
Yes.
We'll stay impartial, say the good, bad, and ugly about each thing. Some things are good, some things aren't. We can just tell people about them and explain it a little bit. It goes a little deeper than what people just say up on a podium.
Yeah.
Say they're trying to save money for people or vice versa.
Into the changes, especially, okay, so like, for instance, the changes in insurance, they're going to affect us
Pretty drastically.
drastically. We know because, that's what we do. So we see a side of it. So yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. So, what do you think of the flag?
I think it looks pretty good. It's a nice little touch on the blank wall. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
well, that's
So
other stuff that's going to be changing too since we just started. We
that's
might
fair.
change the scenery or
Yeah. What
you know.
were some of the names that we were originally thinking of calling our talk, our
Um,
podcast? AMT.
yeah,
All things Medicare
Medicare
and
and
tax.
tax.
I actually still kind of like that.
Um, I can't think of the other ones. We had a list and we just kept going through. And
T360 or something. They
yeah,
were all like, yeah, but the reason I like AMT is
T65.
T60, yeah, red, white, and U. The reason that I like AMT is because it sounds like an AM talk, you know,
Yeah.
like a, I don't know, sounds like,
Also sounds like a movie theater.
yeah, yeah, it does. So, yeah, it does. Yeah, but no, like you said, crazy time. I guess, being in the middle of a presidential race and, all things that are going on, policy changes, things like that, it would make sense to maybe, touch on some of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, just for our viewers, when we do this, typically what we want to do is, yeah, we'll kind of have like a topic, but, and, talk freely on these things. And then we want to give, a small, but practical piece of advice, on the tax side of things and on the health insurance side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Before we want to give something of value, something that you can take away that's practical to every American. Before we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacob, would you kick us off as far as
Yeah.
getting into some of those policy changes, things like that,
Yes.
taxes?
So I think a good way to start is, an example of how policies change from president to president. So there's what was called the Trump tax cuts. Those are going to be ending last year. That's going to be 2025. So that's going to be a big topic, especially when, if we see Kamala and Donald Trump debate, we're going to see that topic, I would almost guarantee, come up. That's going to end in 2025. So if Kamala wins, is she going to extend it? Is she going to go through any other tax policies or add in any other credits? We kind of knew what Biden was wanting to do a little bit, but we don't know if she's going to keep those same policies.
Yeah.
I know I was reading something about in 2019, Kamala talked about adding a monthly tax credit of up to $500 per family, and then that would kind of diminish the more money you make. So the peak would be 50,000 is a household. If that household makes more than 100, they're not going to get it, but it will slowly start to decrease between $50,000 and $100,000 of your income. Those monthly credits are kind of dangerous. We saw during COVID, as tax preparers, people started getting that advance on the child tax credit.
Oh man, yeah.
So they were getting a couple $100 a month, starting, I think it was in July or August, and then when it came time to do their taxes, they were counting on a big refund like they had the year before, and it would be less because they were getting that money throughout the year.
Yeah.
But the gist of Trump's tax policy was he nearly doubled the standard deduction, which helped a lot of people. Some people complain about not being able to take certain things like miles for work or materials, but that was something that they doubled the standard deduction practically, so that helped out a lot of people. So it did affect contractors and things like that, but that stuff should be coming to an end, so we'll have to see if they're going to extend it or not.
Yeah, I feel like too with Kamala, or you're not allowed to say it like that, right? Isn't that a thing? You're supposed. I can't. Yeah, can you pull that up?
I thought it was Kamala.
Yeah,
Kamala?
I think there's a thing. I think it might be Kamala. I think that we're overpronouncing it or something, and I don't think we're supposed to do that. That's what I'm told. There's a whole thing about it.
Well, thanks for letting me say it 4 times before.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you don't know too much as far as her policies, but you can kind of get a pulse on things. Don't see her going too much different than Biden, but who knows? See, starting the
Influence. Sorry, I'm trying to read. It's not Carmela. Well, I know that. It's. I think I'm saying it right. Oh, Kamala. That's
okay.
how it's pronounced.
All
That's
right.
what it says. It's not Kamula, and it says
Well, I feel like that's pretty obvious.
her name is pronounced, and then it says quotations, comma, la, like comma, like the, so Kamala.
All
Okay,
right.
so I was right.
All
So
right,
I
you
don't
got it.
need to apologize. Okay.
I don't think you would anyway.
Yeah. It's not like I was being ignorant. I just
No, right. Yeah.
So another thing that is a good example of how things have changed and how certain policies affect people. Me and Danny see it every single day during tax season is marketplace insurance, or what was known as Obamacare.
Obamacare.
Yeah. And an example of how that stuff kind of gets changed president to president is, when Obamacare came out, it was required that everybody has health care.
Yeah.
But it was a way to make sure everybody got health care too.
That's daddy government telling you what to spend your money on.
Yeah. So when Trump came into office, he got rid of that. He didn't get rid of Obamacare necessarily. They just changed it
Obama
to
gave
marketplace.
phones though.
He did. Yeah.
You still got, yeah. Never. Yeah. So.
I was 8 when he
Okay.
became president.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So basically, Trump made it so you didn't have to have health insurance, but they kept the whole system of how it worked. We see people every day where they have marketplace insurance, or known as Obamacare, and they get that tax credit throughout the year, that premium credit to lower their premium, and then comes time to do their taxes and they have to pay a bunch of money back because they made more than what they estimated, because it's all based of what you say you're going to make.
Right. They're like, well, I'm gonna make, they way undershoot it so they can get a low premium, and then it kind of bites you in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah.
What about when a return gets, this is fun, when a return gets rejected for the 1095A form. That's how
Yeah.
they report the marketplace.
Yep.
And then you tell them, okay, well, once you prepare it, okay, now you owe, owe some more money. You underestimated what your income would be. And then, but it's always, but I didn't even use it. I didn't use the health insurance.
Yeah. It can end up being more expensive too. I mean, the whole idea of health insurance for all is great, but when they make it that you can't go through those tests and vetting process and underwriting and everything when you sign up for it, it's just like car insurance. We've talked about it. If you get a DUI or something, your insurance is naturally going to be higher.
Yeah.
Well, they can't do this and make it more expensive if you have an illness or something, or a disease. So it's naturally going to be higher for everybody to split up that cost, which, for a lot of people, spending $500, $600, $700 on insurance a month just for themselves, which is quite a bit. But
true.
You want to go over some of the other tax stuff that Trump did?
Yeah.
Some of his cuts, and I went over the standard deduction and stuff, but I didn't get too heavy into it, like the child tax credit.
Did you go into the raised standard deduction?
Yeah.
Did I just totally check out on you?
You
said that?
I
You
did
talked
say
about
that.
the standard deduction?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Must have been a snooze fest.
Okay. Yeah, you were a little busy when I was talking about it.
Yeah, the child tax credit. Trump doubled that. Went from 1G to 2Gs. That was a pleasant little surprise there in 2018. Yeah, so if you had kids, that was cool. And obviously, when COVID was going on, bumping that up, that was a pretty wild time. Wish I would have had kids
at that time.
Yeah,
got a $20,000 refund.
That would have been something else. Yeah, I mean, actually, I was hoping can you think of, and I know that I'm supposed to be going over this, but can you think of anything off the top of your head? Just we see so much throughout the tax season. What is, I guess, I kind of want to veer off here. What is something that's common that you get asked a lot during tax season? A misconception, or just a common
Yeah.
occurring thing with,
I think one of the biggest things we get asked is
can I
about,
claim my cat?
they do ask that, um, is about the first time home buyer credit, which ended
Yeah,
a very long time ago.
that's right.
Younger couples in their 20s, 30s, ask, oh, do I get my first time home buyer credit? Or you have older people who are doing their returns. Oh, my daughter just bought her first house. What's her credit going to be? And that ended. Oh, let me just check the double or year for. I think it was 2008. But yeah, 2010 is when it ended. It was worth up to $8,000, and now it's no longer available on purchased homes. They are talking about bringing it back.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think, oh, I just bought a house. I pay property tax now. I pay mortgage insurance.
I'm
and
gonna
my
write all
premiums.
that off.
I get to use all of it. And in reality, which was one of the things with the Trump changes, they can't really use anymore, but it's not necessarily to their detriment. They can't use that property tax or anything unless they can't, but it would be not so smart. If it's not going to be over that standard deduction of 12,000 and some, it's not going to really help them out.
It's not going to benefit you.
So I would definitely say that probably the first time home buyer credit is something we get asked about, or how people can file, like, oh, can I claim my wife? She doesn't work.
Right.
Can I file head of household or things like that? So just those basic stuff.
Right. What what's one solid piece of advice for taxpayers?
I would
Regular
say
taxpayers, individual return kind of thing.
I would say, especially with when they changed it a couple years ago. Sorry, I'm just double checking here. Constantly check your pay stub to make sure they're withholding the right amount. They changed that W-4 form in the equation. Their goal, they changed it in 2020. Their goal was to have people get a smaller refund and get more money throughout the year.
Keep more in your pocket.
So, when people were doing their returns, their $1,000 refund went to $200, and they're counting on that $1,000 because they're not noticing they're getting, $55 extra a paycheck.
Right.
Because, a lot of people might not notice that. But especially make sure you're filling it out right if you're switching jobs throughout the year. We see it all the time where, a single mother filing head of household, has a kid, might have made $50,000 halfway through the year. She switched her job, filled it out, had a household, one dependent, makes another $50,000. That job is not going to take into account the $50,000 she previously made. And that job in the first place was taking into account that she was only making $50,000. So,
right.
they're going to under withhold pretty drastically on that first 50 because her filing status gets her a higher standard deduction, and then she gets the credit for the child. And then that second job is going to do the exact same thing. So when you add those two under withholdings together, she's going to be, under the
hurting for certain.
Yeah. So definitely make sure you add in the income you had previously made, or if you're currently working at another job and tough times, you might have to have 2-3 jobs nowadays.
Yeah.
Or if you have any other income, such as a retirement fund coming in, if you're, things like that. Elderly people have to think of that too. You might be on Social Security, have one pension, start collecting from another, and then you got to mark that you're collecting that other money to make sure they withhold accordingly.
Yeah.
You have any crazy stories that you remember from this past tax season? Danny did 1,700 returns?
I did a lot of returns.
Yeah, was it pretty busy this year?
Yeah, crazy stories this year. Well, I mean, other than just looking out and seeing a lobby that was just unbelievably full, because they all wanted to come and see you.
Yeah.
So it was just like it was unreal. People were having seizures in the
We,
lobby.
yeah, that
That was
was what
scary.
the Saturday before tax season was over.
Yeah,
We
that was
had
pretty
someone have a
intense.
seizure. Yeah,
He
that
still got his
was.
return done at the end of.
Yeah,
He was a
yeah,
trooper.
we closed at 5 on Saturdays, and I was there finishing up a return for someone who came in late. It was like 5:15, and this guy comes in with his hospital band on his arm and everything, and asks if he can get his return done. And we were like,
Yeah,
"What are you doing here?"
dude,
So
you
we
gotta
obviously
get
did it,
some. Yeah,
because I mean, trooper. But I don't even know how that
trooper.
guy was able to drive or anything. I mean, you have a seizure, and then
Well,
his
because he
first
left
seizure
on a
ever.
stretcher.
Yeah, and that was his. They said that was his first seizure ever. He had no history of it, and then they just let him go, which was.
Dude, I would be so spooked that I wouldn't be. I don't think I'd be thinking about taxes
Yeah, no.
once I got
He was
out.
a
That's
man on a mission, though.
man on.
So we
He had a
took
big
care of him and
refund
got it.
coming, probably.
Yeah.
That's wow.
What about that?
Wait. You know what's really funny? Actually, that I was thinking about. Uh, I was thinking this is not last year. This is not but this might have been the year before. This might have been 2021. But Andrew, you know what a machine he is. For the longest time when he does taxes, I honestly I didn't think that
He
he ever went to the bathroom.
doesn't eat. Yeah,
Doesn't
he's like
eat.
the Terminator. He's
Like
like
the
a little
Terminator.
robot. Just comes in, does returns,
I
keeps
mean,
it short and sweet. Hi.
yeah.
Yep.
But the one time I looked over and it was at night. This guy must have pulled a double or something, but he sits down with Andrew, gives him his tax forms, kind of goes over things. And then Andrew's working on it. I look back over. I see Andrew start asking him a question while he's looking at his laptop, and doesn't notice the dude just completely conked out, just snoozing in his chair, and what it was so funny, but I'm pretty sure he finished the return. I'm pretty sure he finished the return. He didn't want to. He didn't want to wake him up or whatever. I mean, he ended up coming back and going over things with him. But
That's funny.
yeah, finished the return before the guy woke up from his nap. I thought that was pretty legit.
That's funny.
Um, yeah. I think probably yeah. So one big takeaway then would be keeping an eye on that pay stub. Um, like you said, making sure you get that W-4 filled out right. Um, single zero is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
If you like a big refund, right, you want to have more withheld.
Correct.
But it's just your money. Yeah, like
It's just
a
your
lot of
money.
time people don't realize that. Like, okay, your refund, unless you have kids, unless you qualify for any credits, you're just getting your money back.
Yeah.
So you can either have a big paycheck or you can have a big refund.
Yeah.
One or the other.
If you have trouble saving money, let the government hold on to
Just
it.
hold on to it so you can get that check. Which I mean, I like getting a little something back.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, and then I think I'll touch on just in the insurance world now, if we can kind of flip over.
Pivot over to that. Let people know we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, to Medicare. That we again, we see a lot, between AEP, between our clients coming in. The reason that we got into insurance to begin with was because from our tax background, we're dealing with tax clients who are either Medicare age, coming up on it, have a lot of questions. And so it was fitting for us to get our license and to work in that area. And I personally, I think it's really rewarding. I love it. I love building relationships, helping people through these things. But same thing with the presidential race. Historically, if a Republican is in office, they are less stringent on agents. That would affect us, not necessarily affect our clients. That just, and then when Democrats are in office, they are stricter on us. It's more so with like marketing guidelines, but there's some other things like the section 1557 with all the, I'm actually not going to touch that, but, so, yeah. Anyways, that's something to consider, at least from our perspective. But
Which it stinks because
it stinks.
it them I understand, just like you do, both sides of it.
Yeah,
They want to protect their American people.
sure.
I'm talking about Democrats, whoever's in office when they do that. Which I don't necessarily disagree with the premise of it.
Yeah.
You don't want people to get 50 phone calls a day constantly being basically harassed about
No.
Medicare or what they're going to do. Uh,
Well, you're already getting Medicare calls, aren't
yeah,
you?
yeah.
That's crazy.
40 years down the road and I'm already getting Medicare calls. Might not be around for us, but
Yeah.
these people that are getting calls, I feel bad for them. My dad gets phone calls. I'm sure your dad probably gets phone calls, and it's like, we're trying to help people.
Yeah.
And the only thing that these rules are doing is just putting restraints on us to reach out to people, because the people that are
Yeah.
breaking the rules and the people that are the reasons these rules are being made, they're in call centers.
Oh, high pressure, not really speaking English.
Yeah, they're just gonna they're gonna keep calling because they're not gonna get in trouble for it,
Yeah.
even though these are the rules that they're made for. So
Right.
those people are still doing the things they're doing, nonstop calling, and it's just making it harder on all the other agents, which does stink. But I do, like I said, I get it, but it's also not helping.
Yeah. Yeah, there's agents who genuinely want to help. That's what we do. That's why we got into it. Yeah, and let me see here. Yeah, I guess just kind of segueing away from that, I would say with as far as advice goes, because I think it's fitting to at least give one piece of advice before we go away from this, but um I would say there's a lot of things to consider before somebody signs up.
Yeah.
And this is what I would encourage anybody that's 64, coming up on 65. One, try to educate yourself as much as you can between the red, white, and blue card. What's that? What's the red, white, and blue card? That's Part A and Part B. Part A, it's an entitlement. So you've paid into this through your payroll taxes, through, again, look at your pay stub. You're paying into it. So, you've paid into it. So Part A is free. Then you have your Part B. How does Medicare Advantage fit into that? How does supplemental plans? Kind of find out what you like. Do you like, look at your finances? Look at your prescriptions, because that's a really expensive. That's usually the highest cost that we see with clients are your prescriptions, which that's where some changes are this year. No more donut hole,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of messes up my flow. You know how I like to do my donut illustration.
Yeah, you love doing that. You
I
can't
love
do
that.
that anymore.
I love that.
Yeah, it helped. They got rid of it.
It
Helps a
helped.
ton. Helps
Yeah.
a ton of
Oh,
people. I'm very happy.
I mean, I'm glad it's gone.
Now for our demonstrations and our seminars, it's going to take a little bit of the fun out of it.
It's gonna take a hit. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So there used to be 4 phases to drug coverage. Now you have 3. They don't have the donut hole anymore. So that's a good thing. Yeah. I think 2,000 between your true out of pocket max is the most that an individual can spend in a year. And again, that's for people that are on specialty drugs, things like that. But they also have the paying by month this year.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That's a big change. Instead of paying up front, if you have a lot of cost when it comes to prescriptions, this is who it would help. At least that's how the CMS, Center for Medicare Services, is marketing it. Yeah. What you punching away at?
Just searching something.
You have anything to add in the insurance world?
For advice?
Well, I mean,
Or-
yeah, let me just recap that, though. The big advice is to look at your finances, to look at your prescriptions. Are you okay with a network? Because that's, most people are okay with a network. In that case, then you can kind of do an advantage plan, also most cost effective. Most people are coming off of an employer provided coverage, which has a network usually. So it's usually an okay fit. Some people don't want anybody telling them what to do, and that would be, maybe you want to go the supplemental route. But I would always encourage, to sit down with an agent.
Yeah. The only thing I would have to add to that, which it kind of goes the same for taxes.
Okay.
Um,
I'm listening.
I can't stand it when we meet with people. Well, I should rephrase that. When we meet with people and they say, "Oh,
I love meeting with people.
my brother has this. This is what I want."
Yeah.
My brother or my neighbor said supplementals suck, or my neighbor
Right.
says advantage plans suck. I don't
Preconceived
want that.
ideas.
Um,
Yeah.
You know, everybody's situation is different, and these plans truly are based off of situations. Depending on what prescriptions you're on, or the amount of money you have in the bank, and your health. So I would say you got to come into it with an open mind. You got to trust. Hopefully, you get an agent that's like me or Danny. We're really impartial about which plan you go with. We sell both Advantage and supplementals.
Yeah.
We don't just sell one carrier. We're not going to push anything down your throat. We're just going to type everything in and show you what you need to see, and help explain it and kind of guide you. You got to go into it with an open mind, I think, and not have it in your head, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to have this, because it is completely situational.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with taxes. People say, "Oh, my neighbor got a $2,000 refund." Well, you make more than your neighbor, and you don't have any kids, and he has 3.
And you had nothing withheld in federal
Exactly.
taxes.
Yep. So it's just that's just one of those things that I think,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Man. So moving forward, what can viewers or listeners expect from us?
I think we're gonna try and do it once a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna keep the name?
I don't know.
I like it.
We'll see.
I like this flag.
We're keeping the flag. Keeping the flag.
That flag, even though it is kind of a nuisance taking it down from my house and then bringing it down.
We can always order a nice big one.
Yeah.
I do think we would appreciate it, because I think this is going on YouTube.
Right? Yeah. Feedback.
Like, comment, subscribe. If you
Yeah.
comment and tell us you want us to touch on a subject, or you have questions, let us know, and we'll try and get those addressed.
Yeah.
We're going to need ideas and necessarily have good talking material. So if anyone wants to know something, just ask, and we'll touch on it. I think that's what people can expect, is just to have a nice little friendly banter, go back and forth, and zone out. Apparently,
of course.
When I talk about something, I might zone out when you talk about something.
Well,
but
boring
just
stuff.
Yeah, it is. So we'll try and keep it a little entertaining. But
yeah. No, I agree. Maybe we'll get a jingle going.
Yeah.
I got a couple things in mind, actually. I got a couple ideas. I like this.
We're going to get copyrighted.
Well, I don't think we will.
We'll find out. Okay.
That's nice. It sounds like Hey Arnold. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does actually sound like Hey Arnold. But yeah, we've worked together for quite some time. We have a great relationship. Jacob loves me. He likes the way my voice sounds in this mic, so that's a big part of it. But
I don't think I'm going to be here for the next episode. I think I'm going to call it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any constructive criticism, any topics, anything you want us to touch on, we will do it. Put it in the comments. Anything. If you don't like the color shirt I'm wearing, I'll try to do something different. I get it. Jacob, you got anything to add?
No. Thanks for watching and listening, and just make sure you let us know if you have any questions or want us to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, me too.
Well, yeah, thanks again for listening, for watching. We will be back.
Yeah.
As it stands. All right.
Hopefully.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
What's a good closeout?
From
the Red, White, and Blue Boys. No, that's not
I don't
cool.
like that. Why don't we leave that open for
Red,
next
White,
week to
and
figure
You.
out? Yeah.
I actually like that. But
I do. Okay.
All right.